With each passing year, you can feel time as if it's accelerating, as if years are turning to days and days into hours. The things that you thought once were going to last forever are just now a distant memory. And throughout this whole period, one thing persists: you growing old. Growing old comes with a lot of negatives. It sucks. Your mind and body start functioning slower with each passing day, being fearful whether it will develop into something worse like dementia or Alzheimer's in the future. Or just the way you look physically is disturbing to you and makes you want to crawl outside of your skin just so you're unable to see yourself lose this young version of you that we have been brainwashed to think that is important. The social world that we have constructed nowadays revolves around the idea that art and beauty is above all else. We're made to use products that make us look younger, wear clothes that make us look younger, and generally try to imitate something that is already in the past. And this makes everyone on the edge with each passing year. Some even going to the extremes of using plastic surgery just so they can escape the inevitable. Fearing of what we will look like or whether anyone will like us makes us sick to our stomachs and drive us to not pursue growing old. When I was younger, I was really fearful of growing old. I couldn't comprehend reaching 21 in the future, let alone anything beyond that. I didn't want to continue living so I'll reach 21, nor anything beyond that. And you have to keep in mind that gyrophobia isn't the fear of death itself, it's the fear of seeing yourself rot. And I felt as though society was divided into two classes: those with gyrophobia and those with thanatophobia, that is, the fear of death. In my eyes, there didn't exist a reason for someone to want to grow old except for a fear of death. You either fear growing old, so you wanted to end your life, or you either were too scared of dying, so you decided to prolong your life as much as possible to escape the inevitable. But here I am, 20, almost 21. It probably doesn't sound like a big accomplishment to anyone, but to me it does. And some of you will be like,
"Oh, you're only 20. You have barely aged. You don't know what it's like growing old."
but still, I proved to myself that I could bear the burden of aging, and most importantly, that there is a reason to actually keep living. Back then, I would have scrutinized myself for not having the balls to end my life in order to escape the worry of growing old, but the fact is that I was the coward all this time. Each person you pass on the street has most probably thought at least once of this existential dread, but they have persisted with living till the very end. And that's what courage is. Even if you're going to grow old and there's a high risk of something bad happening with your health or anything of that sort, you still persist with life in order to experience this phenomenon that we will probably never experience ever again. And for the social world, remaining and looking young is all that matters, but the truth is that being old is equally beautiful. Your aging body signifies the life that you have led and know the experiences that you have been through. You can tell if someone has led a happy and meaningful life just by looking the way aging has come to him. So tell me, is it worth being bothered about how you look in the future as you grow old when you have made so many happy memories along the way? But what about nostalgia? The feeling of missing something that you can never get back. The childhood memories you had with friends. The long summer nights that had no end have now come to an end. We will always miss something from our past and be left with this weird feeling inside of us. How can we continue growing old when our happiest days are long past us? But they aren't. When we keep thinking of how good everything was before, we don't notice the present happiness that we have. We ignore the things that make us happy right now because we think that they are incomparable with our childhood happiness and memories. But as you grow older, that will change. When you age even further, the present you have right now will be nostalgia for the future you. The future you will want to be where you are in the present, and this cycle will repeat itself over and over and over again. Until you realize that in order to be satisfied with growing old, you need to be satisfied with living in the present. So you stop looking back at your past with the idea that it was better when it actually isn't. This also solves a problem that may come up to some people. The idea that your youth was the peak of your happiness and that everything from then on is just plain adult stuff filled with 9 to 5 shifts, barely going out with your friends, and not having time to travel or do anything that's pleasurable. Which I've talked about in another video. The thing that's restricting your adulthood from happy memories isn't aging itself. It's your idea of it and our desperate clinginess to change that. And until you realize that this exact clinginess is what makes you suffer, you'll forever be fearful of growing old. The acceptance that something has to end is hard, even if we're not speaking about growing old. It is so painful to think of a future where you don't have the things that you have right now. But you have other things that will make you as happy as the things that make you right now. Just like when you were a kid. You probably had that one best friend that you don't even talk to anymore. But you're not miserable about it because you have let him go and allowed new experiences to come to your life. The same goes for aging. Let go of it and let it do its own thing. Clinging and craving something to stay the same is suffering. The fact that we have a limited time on this plane of existence is enough of a reason to pursue satisfaction with your life in each stage of it. Who cares that you're a 17-year-old man that can barely wipe his ass when it will also come into nothingness? Your youth is over when you decide to give up on it. Otherwise, you can keep being young for as long as you like. Thank you for watching and subscribe. Apparently, it's pronounced Jurassicophobia.